appreciate it.
I have serious issues on the DA, but in the interest of South Africa, I've embraced the fact that they are a role player in the current situation. Having coffee with Helen will be going too far. We can have coffee in a meeting. Yeah, I wouldn't. I can have tea with the EFF any day, anytime. I can have coffee with the IFP. I can have coffee with the Patriotic Alliance.
And Freedom Front Plus?
That's my constituency in Krugersdorp. I've found Afrikaners to be, most of them, yes, to be much more honest and open. If they hate you, they hate you.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Would you stand for president of the ANC?
I would stand if the processes of the ANC...
If your name is put forward.
Yes. The last time I spoke to the president of the Zuma party, MKP, was the day when he came to Soweto to launch MKP. It's the worst of what I will remember in the history of the ANC. A former president of the ANC doing what he has done. Because I see that as an act of betrayal. And when you go and campaign, you become a tribalist and you say, no, there's an ANC of Ramaphosa. You don't do that.
You must have watched the video of Nomvula Mokonyane, the ANC's first Deputy Secretary General, speaking about Jacob Zuma. If you haven't, let me bring you into the drama that is unfolding in South African politics. Nomvula believes Zuma, the former president and longtime ANC leader, has betrayed the very movement that made him. Strong words from someone who herself has had a complicated history within the ANC, but that is the nature of our politics. Nothing is ever simple, and everyone is always a few steps away from a twist. What makes her remarks fascinating is not only that she called out Zuma directly, but that she did so at a moment when the ANC is already struggling to hold its base together. For decades, Zuma was untouchable inside the party, a figure who could draw crowds in the townships and rural areas where other ANC leaders struggled to even get an audience. Now, Mokonyane is telling us that the man once seen as a loyal son of the movement has turned his back on the house that sheltered him. Let us pause here. Betrayal in politics is not a small word. When someone like Mokonyane says Zuma betrayed the ANC, she is not only talking about one man's decisions. She is hinting at a fracture, a deeper split in the family. Zuma's support for the Umkhonto we Sizwe party has been the most visible sign of this rift. For many ANC veterans, it was unthinkable that one of their own would form or back a rival organization. But Zuma has never been predictable. He has built a second life for himself outside the ANC, and he has drawn thousands along with him. Now, you would expect Mokonyane to keep her fire strictly aimed at Zuma and his MK party. But this is where the story becomes interesting. She might not see eye to eye with the Democratic Alliance, but she is not shy about sitting down with the EFF, the Patriotic Alliance, or even the Freedom Front Plus. That is a tea party few South Africans would have imagined a few years ago. The ANC's Deputy Secretary General, sipping rooibos with Julius Malema, Gayton Mackenzie, and Peter Greenwald's people. Politics makes strange bedfellows indeed. And you might ask, why would she be open to talking with them? Because South African politics today is no longer about one big house dominating everyone else. It is about coalitions, bargaining, and keeping options open. In the age of the government of national unity, everyone has to learn to negotiate. Even the ANC, which once ruled as if its majority was a birthright, now has to consider partners it would have mocked not long ago. Let us also remember that Mokonyane is not simply an official repeating a press line. She is a political survivor. From her days as Gauteng Premier to her role in the Zuma years, to her controversial time in cabinet, she has always found a way to stay close to the center of power. For her to accuse Zuma of betrayal is not only about principle. It is also about protecting the ANC from further erosion. If she can paint Zuma as the man who abandoned the movement, then the ANC can argue that its own struggles are not the fault of the collective, but the fault of individuals who turned against it. This is not just about the past. It is about the future. The ANC is trying to redefine itself after losing much of its shine. The days of Mandela and Mbeki, when the party looked untouchable, are gone. The Zuma era brought corruption scandals, state capture inquiries, and the weakening of state institutions. And now, in this new phase, the ANC is faced with a real question: how do you keep the loyalty of your people when the man they cheered for is now leading a rival movement? Mokonyane's openness to tea with the EFF or even the Freedom Front Plus tells us something deeper. The ANC knows that it cannot afford to isolate itself. Malema has his young, fiery base. Gayton McKenzie has carved a niche as the streetwise politician who says the unsayable. The Freedom Front Plus speaks directly to Afrikaner identity and minority concerns. None of these groups are natural allies of the ANC, but each one represents a piece of South Africa's fractured puzzle. And here is the irony. Zuma himself knows this game. He has built his MK party by tapping into old loyalties, frustrations, and a sense of betrayal that many people in rural KwaZulu-Natal feel. He positioned himself as the man who was betrayed by the ANC leadership, not the other way around. And now Mokonyane is flipping the script, saying no, it was Zuma who betrayed the party. It is like watching a political soap opera where every character accuses the other of betrayal, and the audience is left to choose whom to believe. Humor aside, this is deadly serious for South Africa's political future. If the ANC cannot hold on to its legacy figures, it risks being remembered only for the liberation struggle, not for governance. If Zuma continues to pull support into the MK party, especially in KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga, the ANC's dominance is gone for good. And Mokonyane's words are part of the campaign to prevent exactly that. But you and I both know that South African politics is not only about strategy. It is also about personalities, grudges, and backroom deals. Mokonyane can say she will not sit with the DA, but let us not pretend that in the right circumstances, if the numbers added up, everyone would find themselves around the same table. Today, tea with the EFF, tomorrow, perhaps coffee with Steenhuisen. This is politics, not a friendship club. What we must take from this is that betrayal is now the most powerful word in our political vocabulary. Zuma says the ANC betrayed him. Mokonyane says Zuma betrayed the ANC. Ordinary South Africans say both sides betrayed the people. And in the middle of all this, coalitions are being stitched together that bring the strangest combinations. Who would have thought 20 years ago that the ANC and Freedom Front Plus might ever discuss shared interests? Yet here we are. So what happens next? Zuma will not stop pressing his case. Mokonyane will not stop defending the ANC. And the voters, in 2026 and 2029, will have to decide who is telling the truth. In the meantime, we will keep seeing these small performances, these tea parties, and these speeches where betrayal is the word of the day. If you ask me, it looks less like betrayal and more like a long divorce case. Both sides feel wronged. Both sides want the house. Both sides claim the children love them more. But only time will show who walks away with the bigger share. That is where we leave it today. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Mokonyane's remarks and the bigger story behind them, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Do you think Zuma betrayed the ANC, or is it the other way around? Let us know what you think. See you next time.